Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Netflix. It is time for another update, and today we'll be discussing the structure within this correction to the downside that has been forming, that could form a bottom at any point now. And in some of the patterns we actually have a full count. We don't need any additional lows, and if we extend a little bit lower, if we get here a tiny wave 4 and a fifth wave down, no problem. But we are also towards the end of the large area of support for the wave 4 correction, which is a very strong signal that if broken, an impulse is very unlikely to still manage to form within this structure to the upside. It would have quite bearish implications, and it would definitely heavily damage the reliability of this overall structure that we are tracking to the upside, as we will very likely need to be shifting our focus to the idea of an ending diagonal forming instead within the larger wave 5. But before we get here, I want to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are tracking basically a series of 1-2 setups within this area, and here we have probably a double 1-2 1-2 even, and then we are looking at this as the large wave 3 to the upside, within which we have a wave 1, 2 and 3 and 4 complete, and we are looking now at the wave 5. This wave 5 is expected to form a 5-wave move in of itself, and while at the moment we are tracking an impulse, which is still possible as long as we hold the area of support, we can definitely be building only a larger ending diagonal within this structure. And I want to make it clear that even though we may fail to hold the area of support, it is still technically possible to be building an impulse within this movement to the upside, but it would be once again within a very large series of 1-2 setups that is not necessarily a high probability interpretation. We are dealing with the same thing on a much smaller time frame on the uranium energy chart, and it is clear that it is a very low probability interpretation, especially there. But even here, the likelihood of following within a very strong wave 3 to the upside in an impulse is going to be very low, below the 50% retracement. And I'm talking about a sustained break. That's what I need to see to actually consider the area of support broken, not just a wick below it. But for now, we are still struggling, we are still trying to hold it. And within this wave 4 correction, as I was mentioning, it is possible to track a full count within certain interpretations, within certain structures to the downside that we could consider. So here in blue we have the idea of a WXY pattern, in which in the wave C of the wave Y we are in the fifth wave, we are in the very late stages of this movement, and we already see quite strong divergences, and we only need to be building an ABC structure internally to consider it complete. And I have even another interpretation within which I could consider this structure complete, something like an ABC instead of this larger WXY, but it would be tracking the same wave C to the downside. In the end, it would expect the same pattern basically. And then we have still this other interpretation in orange, where we were considering that this was, instead of a wave W, only a wave A. We have here a wave B correction, and a C wave could unfold in a much larger pattern to the downside. Well, in this case, we would expect here to have a wave 1 down, a wave 2 up, and a third wave that would be expected to form a bottom within this area in the relatively small time frame. But in this expectation, we also see a bottom likely forming within this structure sooner rather than later, although once we have this bottom in place, we would be looking for a wave 4 correction instead, a decently significant relief rally, but a fifth wave could still follow. Well, we will need to be tracking this even once the blue interpretation is complete, but as of now, I do prefer, at least based on the internal count, the internal structure within this movement to the downside, I do prefer quite heavily the blue interpretation, in which we are tracking a wave C within this area, in which we are expecting to form a bottom in the near term within this structure. So we are going to keep this mainly on the chart, and within this wave 5, or let's talk a bit more about the wave C to the downside actually. So we have some levels that do suggest this is a correct structure to be tracking. If we are looking here, the ideal target for the wave 3, which we are tracking within this area, it has been reached perfectly, into the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. We have our correction in wave 4 into the area of resistance before continuation in a wave 5 to the downside. And not only that, even the proportions look quite good for the wave 2 and the wave 4 correction. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this count. I'm feeling confident that this structure has a very good shot at forming a bottom within this area, although I certainly cannot guarantee that it will be the case. Yeah, in the end, the market can always extend, and the structure to the downside could form even a large wave 3 where it wouldn't have bottomed here. We could have here instead an ABC movement that could see further continued downside before we find a bottom, although certainly we have here, even on the daily, divergence in place. We could see a low to be forming at any point, and within this wave 5 to the downside, now we are getting to it, I am tracking an ABC movement at the moment, within which I have here a wave 1 down, a wave 2 up, a third wave down, a fourth wave up, and I'm looking at this as the fifth wave down, within which, once again, I'm only needing to see an ABC movement. I am tracking an ending diagonal within this internal wave C, in which case we have here something like an ABC movement, in which case a bottom could take place at any point. Now, keep in mind, this is within a very, very small time frame. It is extremely fragile, and I wouldn't necessarily be focusing too much on the exact structure to the downside. I would instead be looking from a larger time frame perspective, and keep in mind that from this area, from this perspective, we are very, very deep within a large time frame area of support. We did have an over 30% drop. We are at the last level of support basically, and we don't have much structural support, unfortunately, at this level. We don't have much to be seen yet. Yeah, maybe a couple of lows that have been formed exactly here on the 50% retracement, but much more is expected at lower prices. And now, even if we don't manage to hold the exact 50% retracement, and even if we actually fail to hold the area of support for the wave 4 correction, I would expect a relief rally to likely take place sooner rather than later. I wouldn't expect a complete downfall necessarily, and yeah, this isn't me saying it's impossible, it's just not a high probability interpretation for me. And in the end, it is your choice what you do with these areas of support that I'm providing you, with the areas of resistance, and with the potential trade setups. I am here just to provide you the information, and right now I'm looking with high interest, yeah, very, very high interest, at a wave 4 correction, possibly forming a bottom in the very, very near term into the last level of support. And we have the blue count that counts a full pattern, a full structure to the downside, and realistically we don't need anything more to consider the wave 4 complete. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.